태환 킴님 안녕하세요. 반갑습니다. 다 늦게 주무시는군요. 동동님 안녕하세요. 신기섭님 안녕하세요. 어제도 계셨던 분들 또 와주셔서 너무 감사드립니다. 안 졸리신가요? 네. 용쌤의 슬기로운 배움 생활님도 반갑습니다. 네, 오늘 이제 이틀 남았습니다. 오늘 하고 내일 하고 남았는데 같이 보도록 하겠습니다. 성이름님 반갑습니다. 갓대두님 안녕하세요. 브레멘 음악대님 안녕하세요. 반갑습니다. 손힘찬님 안녕하세요. 되게 항상 이제 뉴스 보시던 분들이 와주셔서 너무 감사드리고요. 이 새벽에 다들 안 주무시는군요. 이거 보려고 기다리신 건가요? 아니면 원래 늦게 주무시는 건가? 아무튼 와주셔서 너무 감사드립니다. 이 늦은 시간에. 아침 아니었나요? 아침. 지금 아침. 좋습니다. 불덩이님 안녕하세요. 제로님 안녕하세요. 유전님 안녕하세요. 그러게요. 이제 만족스러운 거 나올 때가 됐는데 2개 남았는데 뭐가 나오지 않을까. 그 에이전트 관련해서 뭐 나왔다고 좀 돌아다니는 건 있더라고요. 그 타이머 같은 게 있어서 주기적으로 실행시키는 거, 크론잡 같은 거 있잖아요. 서버에서 실행할 때 약간 그런 것처럼 주기적으로 실행시키는 거를 뭐 이미 어떤 UI 상에 유출된 게 있어가지고 있다고 합니다.
Hey everybody, and welcome to day 11. I'm Kevin Wheel. I lead product at OpenAI, and I'm definitely outclassed by the two gentlemen on my right, who I'm told did not just get these suits 48 hours ago on Amazon.
Definitely own this already. 100%. Yeah.
All right, so you might have noticed we've been putting a lot of effort into our desktop apps. So we launched our Mac desktop app about 6 months ago. We launched our Windows desktop app just a couple months ago.
관련인가 보네요.
And as our models get increasingly powerful, ChatGPT will more and more become agentic. And that means we'll go beyond just questions and answers. ChatGPT will begin doing
컴퓨터
things
유즈
for you.
이런 거 나오나?
We're seeing that already with products like Canvas, where you're collaborating with ChatGPT to help improve your writing and your code, and that shift will continue. And ChatGPT will do more and more on your behalf. The desktop apps are a big part of that too, because being a desktop app, you can do so much more than you can just in a browser tab. That includes things like, with your permission, of course, being able to see what's on your screen and being able to automate a lot of the work that you're doing on your desktop. So we'll have a lot more to say on that as we go into 2025, but we've also got some exciting stuff that we're launching today. So let's dive in.
All right.
오늘
Hi,
좀
I'm John
재밌겠는데요?
Nastos, and I work on the ChatGPT desktop team.
My name is Justin Rushing, and I also work on the ChatGPT desktop team. We've got a lot to show you today, so I'm just going to go ahead and get started here. So first things first, this right here is the fully native ChatGPT desktop app for Mac. It does all the things that we've come to expect from our clients. But what I really love about it is that being native, it's really lightweight. It doesn't use a lot of resources. It lives in its own window, and I'm able to use it without having to context switch away from what I'm already doing, right? So we've got this keyboard shortcut, Option Space, that makes it really fast to show and hide ChatGPT. So it's always there when you need it. This button right here is our entry point for working with apps on your computer. And
Work with apps. 이거 원래 공개되긴 했었죠. 엑스코드랑 막 이렇게 연계해가지고 쓰는 거.
ChatGPT, right?
All the time.
이동진님 안녕하세요.
This feature makes that way smoother by when we are working with an app on your computer, we'll automatically pull that context in for you. So you just focus on asking your question and we'll handle the rest. So you might notice that I've also got this Warp console window open as well. It's currently navigated to a repository that I'm getting up to speed on. And it might seem kind of silly, but I want to figure out how many commits per day are happening in this repo. We talk about velocity a lot here, so I want to see that for myself. I have no idea how to do that, though. So I'm going to use ChatGPT. So when I click on this button, I'm going to see all of the apps that are currently running on my computer that ChatGPT can work with. Important note, until you select one of these, we will never look at the contents of another app. So you are always fully in control over what you're sharing with ChatGPT. So to get started, I'm going to click on Warp. And at this time, huge shout out to the Warp team for all of their help in getting this going. When we first announced working with apps, we did not have support for Warp, and it was, I think, literally the first request was adding support.
Yeah.
Huge shout out to the team. They worked really hard to help us get it ready for today, so thank you. So I'm going to get started by saying write a command to get the number of commits per day over the past 2 months. And now I don't need to tell ChatGPT that I use Git because it can tell from Warp that I do. And it's just going to give me the command that I need. So I'll push this button to copy and paste it into
알아서
Warp.
써주진 않네요.
And I think this looks right.
Yeah, it looks like the right information, but it's also kind of hard to tell what we're looking at, right?
Yeah, I'm a visual learner myself. So normally what I would do is I'd figure out how to get this into a spreadsheet, make a chart there, and then find that spreadsheet again in 3 years. But instead, I'm just
약간
going to
이거
I'm just gonna
확장판인
ask
것
for
같은데
one.
이전에도
So
Work
make
with
a
Apps라고
bar graph
공개된 게 있었는데
with all of the results.
그거를 이제 다른
Why
여러
not?
앱들을
Make it
다 호환되게
holiday
만든
themed.
건가?
Great idea.
And awesome. So this is going to show off what I think is the coolest part about working with apps, which is that it works with all of the other features and all of the other models in ChatGPT. So in this case, 4.0 decided to use advanced data analysis to crunch some numbers and give me back a bar graph. And what that means, if you really think about it, is that when we build features like advanced data analysis and bring them to ChatGPT, it's kind of like we're bringing them to every app that ChatGPT works with.
Yeah. That's great. So while it thinks about this, do you want to talk a little bit about what the model is actually seeing? Is it just what we see on the screen, or is it something more?
Great question. So an easy way to do this would be to just grab a screenshot and let Vision do the rest. But we actually can reach into the application to grab off-screen content as well. And so these results will contain everything here, not just what you see on screen.
Yeah.
오.
Well, it's thinking hard about this. It might be the holiday-themed part.
I know. Oh, okay.
There it is.
Perfect. All right. I mean, that looks pretty holiday themed to me. What do you think, John?
It's holiday-themed. I don't know if it's as holiday-themed as we are in these suits, but it's not bad.
Literally nothing is as holiday themed as you are.
Yeah.
Perfect.
그리고
But it's
이렇게
good
화면
enough. So I'm
하나만
just gonna
보여주는 게
download
아니고
this,
여기
and now I
안에
can
있는
share
거
it with
다
a teammate. But
화면에
with that,
나오지
I'm
않은
gonna hand it back to
것까지도
John to talk a
가져간다라는
bit
말이
more
있었습니다.
about programming.
Great. So
맞습니다.
I think that the use case that Justin showed is really important and useful to be able to interact with a terminal. But I want to show what it's like to interact with code in an IDE. So I have Xcode open here, which is my IDE of choice. And it's running a sample app that is actually a little bit of a peek behind the scenes into how this Work with Apps feature works. The sample app uses the macOS accessibility APIs to look at Xcode and tell us some things about what's on the screen. So it's telling us that there's a text field with these dimensions. It tells us that it has 37 lines, and we can go down and check that.
Looks right to me.
37 lines, yep. And it shows us the content of the text field.
And we actually use this to make the feature, right?
That's right. Yeah, this is a useful sample app for us, for sure. So this is nice, but it doesn't do any live updating. So I'm going to use ChatGPT to help add that feature. I'm going to bring up the chat bar with a very similar shortcut to what Justin showed earlier, but with a slight change. I'm going to use Option-Shift-1. And what that does is it brings up the chat bar with Xcode automatically paired to it, Xcode being the topmost app that is open that we support with this feature.
It makes it super quick to start working with an app.
Yeah, it's great.
그
And you
이전에
get this
공개된
immediate
거와의
feedback
차이를
that
잘
it
모르긴
sees
하겠네요.
Xcode here. So
이전에
these
그
accessibility APIs are
Work with
a little bit
Apps를
inscrutable. Definitely hard to remember how to
공개했었는데
use
요거랑
and
거의 지금
pretty
똑같아
complicated,
보이죠?
actually.
네, 지금
So I'm
이거
going to
이전에도
use the model
공개했던
selector here,
건데.
and I'm going to switch this to O1. O1 is one of our newer models here at OpenAI, and it does a great job thinking about these difficult coding problems.
그때는
And I should
약간
mention
그때
as well
업데이트는
that,
사실 요거의
this feature
한정이긴
is also
했거든요.
available with
엑스코드나
O1
텍스트,
Pro.
아이템,
You really wanna
터미널,
throw the
코드,
deep-end
VS
coding
코드 요 정도
problems at the right model.
한정이었는데
Yeah.
더 확장이 된
All right, so let's give it a
수준인가?
prompt here.
뭐 이런
I'm going to
생각이
say,
드네요.
add an observer. So if selection changes, load text areas is called. And we'll kick off this request to the model. So O1 is one of our chain of thought models, and you can see that it's thinking about this issue. It's going to tell us some of the steps that it goes through as it considers. And wow, that was a pretty fast response from it.
Didn't have to think too hard on that one, I guess.
I guess not.
You got to give it a harder problem next time.
Yeah, wow. All right, so it's generating some code, and I have a fair amount of trust in O1's code here. So as soon as it's finished generating, I'm just going to copy this into Xcode, and we're going to run it and see what happens.
I don't see anything that could go wrong with that.
No, demos.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, live demos work 100% of the time. It was one of the rules of the universe. All right, so I've copied that code and I'm pasting it
그러게요.
directly
이거는
into
뭐
Xcode.
약간 새로울 건
I'm gonna
없는
take
것
a
같긴
quick
합니다.
scroll through it to see if it's finding any issues. Right now, it's looking pretty promising.
All right.
So let's run this and see what
그러네요.
happens.
처음에 뭐
it would
소라나
be really
아니면
cool
뭐
if you didn't
오원
have to
프로
copy
막 이
and paste
정도만
that
해도
back in
우와
Xcode,
했었는데 점점
That would be
갈수록
cool. And people have been
네,
suggesting that.
그냥
Should I
그저
build
그런
that?
것만
You should
나오긴
definitely
하네요.
build that.
All right, PM approved.
Great. All right. So it's running again. Let's take a look. If I select content, oh no, it didn't work like we thought.
Okay.
Should we give it one more shot?
Yeah. Why don't we ask? Yeah.
All right. So I think I'm actually just going to go back to our previous state since I don't have a specific error here. Let's try to discard the changes.
All right. Let's give it one more shot.
Yeah, one more shot.
Yeah.
And
뭔가
while it's working, we
잘못됐나
can talk about some more of the features here. OK, add an observer. So if selection changes,
아 그러네요.
load text areas.
하루에
is
3-4개씩 묶어도
again.
사실 구글은 진짜
Alright.
뭉치고
Maybe it
뭉쳐가지고
didn't
한 번에
think
짠
hard enough on that.
했는데
We'll try it again.
이거는
Overconfidence.
Yeah.
좀 그렇습니다.
Well, it thinks about this. I should mention that I'm
맞아요.
using Xcode.
BO2나
Like I said,
이번에
this is my
공개된
IDE
그거
of choice
보셨나요?
when working
그
with Swift.
구글에서도
But we do
5원
support
같은 거
a whole bunch
냈거든요.
of other IDEs.
차라리 구글 거
That
보는 게
means
더
VS Code,
후킹하겠네요.
the
잠시.
JetBrains ecosystem, which includes
AS
Android
Studio
Studio
보면은.
and PyCharm, RubyMine, things like that. Some really standby Mac apps like TextMate
여기에.
and BBEdit. So we've got a whole lot of different
오,
support.
요거 생긴 거
I'm actually
아세요?
unreasonably excited for MATLAB support.
제미나이
I would have
2.0
totally
플래시
used that in
싱킹
college.
익스페리먼털 요게
Yeah,
생겼습니다.
MATLAB is another
네,
exciting one. I
요거는
think
이제
some students
투론
are really gonna find
모델이니까
that useful.
좀 더
Okay.
약간
It's,
그 오원처럼
it is still
깊게
generating some
그
code.
오랫동안
There it goes.
생각하는
Done.
그게
I'm gonna
아닐까.
use this copy button again.
이 누구
And again, with full trust that everything is going to work, I'm going to
네,
paste
싱킹
What
이거
could
떠요,
go wrong,
싱킹.
though, right?
Yeah, sure.
오.
All right, so let's run this again and see if we have slightly
오.
better luck. Okay.
네,
it's
이거
running.
무료입니다. 그
Hey, look at
일부
that.
사용량까지
If I
무료예요.
things, it changes. Wow, it's a holiday miracle.
You got the incantation to the demo gods right the
Yeah,
second time.
exactly.
Glad, yeah.
Exactly. Awesome. So we've been talking a lot about coding today, right? But another thing that I love to use
야,
ChatGPT
5원
for
네,
is
이게
helping
더
with my
좋네요.
writing.
아, 이
And I
오픈AI
know I'm not
발표가
alone.
별거 없고
And so
차라리
that's why
구글이
today we're
그냥
announcing support
아무런
for
공지
3
없이
new
갑자기 쓱
applications,
공개한
Apple Notes,
네.
Notion, and Quick.
제미나이 2.0 플래시
We think this is
싱킹
going to
네,
open up
이게
a
더
brand new set of use
좋은 것
cases
같습니다.
for working with apps, and so we can't wait to see what you all do with it. With that, John, Kevin, you already know this, but for the rest of you, I give walking history tours in San Francisco outside of work. Big history buff. San Francisco's got a great story to tell, and I'm actually working on a brand new walking tour. And so why don't we try out this feature and help me out with that?
Let's do it.
Great. So here I have a Notion document open on my computer. I always write my tours in Notion. And this is actually a real walking tour that I'm working on. So I hope you all find it interesting. But I'm actually working on a new stop for my favorite character in
진짜
San
새로울 게
Francisco
없는데.
history, Emperor Norton. I know some high-level talking points. He was the self-proclaimed Emperor of the United States and Protector of Mexico, who lived in San Francisco in the 1800s. And he even made his own currency that was actually valid in the city for a while.
That's
So-
something you can just do?
Yeah, apparently you can. And I think it's going to make for a great tour stop.
All right.
But I'm a little bit fuzzy on the details, and so I'm going to use ChatGPT to help me out. One option would be to copy and paste these bullets over, and I think Chat would do a pretty good job at going with that. But it would be
그리고
helpful if it had
11차
context of the
그
entire document,
에이전트
right?
나오지
And
않을까
so
싶어요.
instead,
뭔가
I'm gonna
그
have ChatGPT
비슷한
work directly with Notion.
에이전트에서 뭐 시간 정해가지고 호출할 수
I'm
있는
gonna hit
기능이 뭐
Option Space to bring
유출됐다
up
이런
ChatGPT,
소식이 있었거든요.
Have it work with Notion.
그런
And
게
I'm
나오지
actually going to
않을까.
go ahead and just highlight the stop here so that the model knows what to pay attention to. And so now we can see we're working with Notion in the walking tour document focused on selected lines. And I'm just going to go ahead and say, fill out these talking points. Right? Don't need to be any more specific than that. But one thing that is really important is that this is a walking tour, right? This is a history tour. Things need to be factually correct. And so to help with that, I'm going to push this button to turn on search. And now, to answer my question, ChatGPT is going to search the web, and everything it tells me is going to be grounded in citations, right? And so anything I want to find out more about, I can go ahead and click the links, and you really start to see this awesome interaction loop pop up, where ChatGPT is helping me with my research in the context.
네, 요거
of
새로운 걸
document
보여드리면 요게 유출됐거든요. 요거 나올 줄 알았더니만 요거 내일 나오는 것 같습니다. 어떤 거냐? 저본이라는 게 있거든요. 어떤 거냐면 오토메이션 하는 건데 이런 걸 정할 수 있다고 해요. 이 GPT에서 이렇게 에딧이 있는데 이게 그 특정 태스크를 정해놓고 이렇게 스케줄링을 할 수가 있어요. 그래서 특정 스케줄마다 자동으로 실행하는 그런 거를 할 수가 있어가지고 그 알림도 줄 수 있거든요. 알림. 그러면 알아서 뭔가 에이전트 작업을 수행하고 나한테 이메일 줘 이런 게 가능한 거죠. 여기서. 턱주가리 맞아요. 그런 업데이트가 약간 유출이 됐다고 합니다. 그래서 이게 내일 아마 업데이트되지 않을까. 근데 요거는 확실히 좀 에이전트를 위한 준비 같은 느낌이죠. 맞아요. 이게 그런 말도 있더라고요. 이거 뭐 그냥 사실 파이썬 그냥 스크립트 뭐 크론잡 이런 거 돌리면은 바로 되는 건데. 네, 요거에 되는 이유는 아마 이제 에이전트 기능이 들어가게 되면 이게 되게 유용할 거잖아요. UI 상에서 몇 시에 실행한다가 자동화되면.
And what I'd like to introduce today is support to use advanced voice mode with this feature. We're really excited about this. We think that this paradigm is a really interesting way to talk with ChatGPT and get insight into your documents or your code for that matter. All right, so we're going to show one of mine in a second here. When I'm not at OpenAI, I spend a lot of time as a professional saxophone player, and I've got this holiday party set list that I'd like some input on. I think ChatGPT would be great about this, but again, I want to use the voice to do this.
Is this why your holiday parties are all so good, by the way?
No, that's a different thing.
Okay,
yeah, okay.
Is it the suits?
Yeah, the suits help, for sure, yeah. All right, so yeah, I want someone special to really help out with this. So let's bring up ChatGPT again with the shortcut that I mentioned earlier, which is Option-Shift-1. And that brings up our chat bar. It's automatically paired with notes. But this time, instead of typing to the model, I'm going to use this new advanced
보는
voice
거를
mode
좀
support.
종류를
So I'll use
늘렸다
this
정도일
icon
것
in the
같네요.
bottom
이전에
right to
발표됐던
bring
그
in our
월크위스
special guest.
앱스의 좀 확장판이지 않을까. 네, 그런 생각이 듭니다.
Hey Santa, are you there?
아, 보이스 모드 되나? 오.
Yes, I'm here.
아, 요거는 좀 새롭긴 하네요. 보이스 모드로
Santa,
연결해가지고.
it is so great to talk to you. Listen, I've got this holiday set list that I'm working on, and I've got a couple songs that I'm just not sure about. This one, I've got My Love to Keep Me Warm. I honestly don't really know that song very well. Can you recommend something else?
Ho, ho! How about replacing I've Got My Love to Keep Me Warm with Frosty the Snowman?
Oh, that's a good idea. Let's see. The Snowman. Did I get that right?
Ho, ho, ho! Not quite.
Oh, keep going.
Sure thing. So is there anything else you'd like to know about your holiday set list?
I think Santa was bored with the copy editing, but we can move on. Let's talk about the last song of the second set, Auld Lang Syne. I mean, that's a little bit dreary. I'm hoping for something more energetic to really get you and the elves dancing. What do you think? What should I replace it with?
Ho, ho! Deck the Halls would be a perfect replacement. It's jolly, festive, and sure to get everyone dancing. Ho, ho, ho!
Santa, I think that's a great idea. I think that song's really going to slay. I think, you know, interacting with the voice model like this is such a great way to talk to your documents and get live feedback on what you're doing.
Totally. And good news, right before we stepped on this live stream, actually, we pushed the button to ship all of the features we just showed off. So they should be available for you on your computer. Just make sure that you are updated to the latest ChatGPT app for macOS.
Awesome. So that's day 11. It's about using the desktop apps to see, understand, and automate the work that you're doing with ChatGPT. This is available today as of, 20 minutes ago on our Mac desktop apps, coming soon to Windows. I love the desktop apps. They're in the background when you're doing work,
Coming
and
soon
then it's a
Windows.
keyboard shortcut, and they're right there and able to help you do whatever you're working on. So that's day 11. We have one day left. We'll be coming to you tomorrow morning, day 12. We got something super exciting, so don't miss it.
Yeah, we can't wait to get these features out to you. We're really excited. But in the meantime, I've got to start practicing this
Super
stuff that-
exciting.
yeah, that Santa recommended. All right, let's see.
오. 잘하시네. 좋습니다. 네, 오늘 요약은 Work with Apps를 좀 더 확장했다. 그리고 보이스 모드도 연결된다. 네, 이 정도일 것 같습니다. 네, 아무튼 네, 이렇게 해서 네, 11일차 있고 그 제일 핵심은 아마 12일차에 굉장히 큰 게 온다라고 좀 예고를 했기 때문에 좀 기대해봐도 좋지 않을까 이런 생각이 듭니다. 태왕킴님, 네, 이거 저도 계속 주기적으로 해보고 있거든요. 근데 안 됩니다. 아직 안 돼요. 왜 안 되지? 저 티어 5긴 하거든요. 그래서 풀렸어야 됐는데 아직 안 풀렸습니다. 이거 안 되고 5원으로 해도 안 됩니다. 왜 안 되지? 네, 아무튼 그렇습니다. 네, 그러면 내일은 좀 뭔가 큰 게 오지 않을까 싶긴 하고 그 아까도 잠깐 보여드렸지만 이 영상 이제 끝난 김에 좀 더 보여드리면 요거 공개될 것 같아요. 아마 요게 좀 유출이 됐다라고 하니까 네. jawbone 네, 턱벽 턱벽 네, 요게 태스크라는 거를 관리를 하는 거 보면 아마 뭔가 이제 어떤 에이전트화가 된다고 하면 어떤 에이전트들의 태스크 예를 들어 뭐 매일 아침 뉴스 정리해서 글 올리기 뭐 이런 태스크들이 있으면 이제 매일 아침에 실행을 해야 되니까 그걸 스케줄링 할 수 있는 그런 기능이 있어야겠죠. 네, 그래서 에딧 눌러보면 태스크를 이제 이름과 인스트럭션과 스케줄을 정할 수가 있습니다. 네, 그래서 이거를 네, 뭐 매일 아침마다 몇 시에 한다. 그리고 알림을 나한테 줘라 이런 것까지도 설정을 할 수가 있습니다. 네, 그래서 이런 거가 아마 내일 이게 좀 종합적으로 발표가 되지 않을까 네, 이런 생각이 듭니다. 네, 아무튼 요거 에이전트를 위한 기능이겠죠. 요게 나왔다는 거는. 근데 뭐 내일 에이전트와 함께 이게 공개되면 사실 엄청난 거긴 하죠. 이제 웬만한 일들을 다 그냥 스케줄링 시켜놓고 뭐 매일 아침 뉴스 뭐 하기 이런 거 여러 개 짜자자작 한 다음에 다 에이전트 돌리면 알아서 에이전트가 연속적으로 막 수행하고 할 수도 있겠죠. 네, 아무튼 그렇습니다. 요게 아마 내일 공개되지 않을까 그런 생각이 듭니다. 네, 오늘은 그냥 네, Work with Apps 이전에 이거는 예전에도 데모 영상이 있었는데 그거랑 크게 다르지는 않은 것 같습니다. 그냥 앱이 이거를 넘어서서 좀 더 많은 앱이 되고 이제 보이스 모드가 된다라는 점이 좀 특별한 그 요소이지 않을까. 네, 그리고 마지막에 그 색소폰 네, 장기 자랑이 인상적이었습니다. 네, 좋습니다. 5원 한도가 너무 적어서 그렇군요. 그 200달러짜리 하면 5원도 무제한이긴 합니다. 5원 무제한 맞죠? 프로가 아마 좀 제한이 있었고. 네, 좋습니다. 아무튼 네, 그러면 내일을 좀 기대를 해봐야 될 것 같습니다. 네, 그러면 오늘도 늦은 시간에 이렇게 많이들 와주셔서 감사드리고요. 네, 좋아요 안 누르신 분들 네, 좋아요 한 번씩만 부탁드리고 네, 내일은 이제 마지막 날이니까 네, 내일은 꼭 뵙도록 하겠습니다. 네, 그러면은 내일 새벽에 또 뵙겠습니다. 감사합니다.